Okay, so once again we've had Ronnie Coleman on the 2024 Mr. Olympia stage. We've also had the gift Phil Heath against the first call-out. Dorian Yates challenged today's lineup as well. And yesterday it was Jay Cutler's turn. Some of you might have missed this, but before all this, during this Olympia weekend, we also had Nick Walker on the Olympia stage and Keon Pearson as well on the Open Mr. Olympia stage. As you can tell, there's a lot of work going into these videos, and since some of them didn't get too many views, I told you in yesterday's video with Jay Cutler that unless that video gets 1000 likes, I'm gonna end the series there. But you guys showed me that you actually appreciate these videos, and since yesterday that video got 1300 likes and also almost 100 new subs, so I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate that. And the best way to show you my appreciation is to actually continue the series with a new banger. Andrew jacked with his best version ever at the Texas Pro 2024 on the 2024 Mr. Olympia stage. Unlike all the others, Andrew was actually present on that stage this past weekend, but the version he brought was underwhelming and far from his best. He still placed 5th, but what if Andrew brought his Texas version to the Olympia? Where would he have placed? Since Samson took 1st, Hadi 2nd, Derek 3rd, and Martin 4th, let's see where a near 100% Andrew would have placed at the Olympia. By the end of this video, I'm gonna have an exact placement for him in this lineup. So let's proceed to the poses. Front double biceps. Andrew is such a towering bodybuilder that when he comes in shape, it's hard for all these smaller guys to deal with him. Even though one-on-one it might be different between all of these facing each other, when standing on the same stage, Andrew really changes the entire dynamics. Seeing the 5 of them line up like that, the only one that could hold up to Andrew is Samson. So the 2 of them kind of form their own call out there in the center where the others look like they don't belong. Now, of course, all 5 of them look great in this pose. This is a pose where each of them looks very strong, each with their strong points. But honestly, this looks like a dominant win from Andrew here against all of them. Besides the fact that he's the biggest, he also has arguably the most impressive biceps in the lineup with those incredible peaks, and he also looks to be having the best flow overall. Muscle group per muscle group, you could nitpick certain things, but all things put together like that with that robotic yet aesthetic look, Andrew looks near perfection in this pose. This is what I have in my mind when I think about this pose. So Andrew Jack takes 1st place in this pose for me. Front lat spread is next, and nothing changes really. I would actually go on and say this looks even more dominant from Andrew against the rest of the lineup. He has the widest structure and the best lats, at least seen from this angle. So that's already 2 of the biggest arguments for this pose. When you factor in the fact that he remains the tallest guy on stage, he keeps his incredible robotic and aesthetic flow plus this Texas Pro conditioning that was more than enough, at least from the front, makes this a 2nd dominant win, I would say, for Andrew Jack against the top 4 at this year's Olympia. But I'm sure most of you were already expecting this from the first 2 poses. Let's see what happens next. Side chest pose. At least based on these still pictures, nothing drastically happens in this side pose, at least not in the upper body. I would argue Andrew has the best chest in the lineup after Samson, who has the best chest in the world today. Andrew also looks pretty polished for Andrew. The problem with him is really how he's holding this pose, and by that I mean his leg stance. He already has the least impressive side leg, and holding this pose with his legs in a more straight stance like that doesn't help his case. He should lean down more to showcase some hamstring and some details, but while he would lean down more, he should also be able to hold it there comfortably. And that's the issue with him. I've seen him trying, but he looks like he struggles with that, so definitely he needs to put in the work there. I really hope he manages to do something. He's a proven great poser, and it would be a shame for a posing aspect to hold him down from winning these major shows. In this pose, Samson is first for me, Hadi last, while Martin and Derek are closer. I think Andrew finds himself somewhere in between these three, mostly fighting to avoid last in this pose. Back double biceps, and if you thought Andrew had a really weak back, you thought wrong. He's not Ronnie Coleman, but his back is the widest in this lineup, even wider than Derek's, due to him having a bigger structure overall. Otherwise, pound for pound, Derek is wider. Anyway, aside from Derek, who is the clear winner of this pose, I think Andrew could challenge any of the others, at least in the upper body. Andrew's problem is lower body again, where he presents the least detailed hamstrings and glutes. In my estimation, Samson defeats Andrew jacked overall in this pose, and probably Martin too, despite him needing to work on his width. Since I have Hadi in last place in this other pose as well, I see Andrew fighting him again to avoid last place. The back lat spread is even better for Andrew back-wise in my opinion. He has arguably the best lats in the lineup together with Derek, and his trap development is on point too. His back presents both width and depth plus more than decent details. His problem remains the lower body, but overall due to his towering structure, he's in the mix. It's almost like anyone can take first or last. They're all very close, so even if you would have Andrew in last still, it's not a decisive loss that would do too much damage in my opinion. Side triceps, and this is arguably Andrew's least impressive pose. Again, because of that side execution, he really looks like he has a mobility issue here, and it's ironic since he's the one doing the splits on stage, but I digress. Not even his triceps help him too much in this pose for those who still appreciate a good triceps in the side triceps pose and don't focus on abs and obliques, but I digress again. All in all, I can't help Andrew place anywhere else than dead last in the side triceps. Abs and thighs is next, and this really becomes a one-on-one battle between Andrew and Hadi. All the others are miles below, well, maybe except for Martin, who looks great as well, but still not at their level. Between Andrew and Hadi, it will always be a debate, and if you are watching my videos, you know I have a favorite. The way Andrew presented himself at the Olympia, he has no chance against Hadi, but the way he looked in Texas, it's a different story. Let me put it like this, if Andrew and Hadi were the same stature, Hadi would win. Pound for pound, Hadi's hardness is second to none. But since Andrew is such a bigger and more imposing silhouette, and also has those incredible six-pack abs and pretty strong thighs, I'm always going to prefer a guy like him. So he wins the abs and thighs in this lineup for me. The last pose is the most muscular, and to be honest, by the looks of it, he battles Derek to avoid last place in this picture, and if they were the same stature, Derek would trash him too in my opinion. Andrew's problems lie with the execution as well, but also with the fact that he has the long and skinny arms from this angle. It becomes even more obvious in this other variation where despite showcasing his great midsection, there's still too much empty space going on there. Still, this variation is better in my eyes than the previous one, but yet again, Andrew finds himself battling to avoid last place in another pose. So what's the conclusion of this matchup? Andrew won his three front poses, the front double, the front lat spread, and the abs and thighs as probably expected. I don't think he won those at the Olympia though, and he still placed 5th. However, in the rest of the 5 poses, he literally was in the conversation of placing last in all of them, and in some of them he even was dead last, except for maybe the back lat spread, where I think he is quite underrated. Knowing all this, where would I have Andrew placing at this year's Olympia with this physique? What I'm about to say is gonna be pretty shocking and upsetting for some people, but since Derek wasn't at his best, and in my opinion Hadi neither, I would actually have placed this version of Andrew above both of them. The issue is that I don't think I have Andrew over Martin, even though I agree with how the top 3 placed at the Olympia this year. When it comes to Martin, I think he was overlooked and could have placed as high as 2nd, so as the conclusion of this video, I would have Samson in 1st, Martin and Andrew fighting for 2nd, and probably Martin winning. Hadi close to them, but eventually in 4th. I know Hadi fans are gonna kill me, and Derek all the way to 5th. What do you guys think about my assessment here? Do you agree with my controversial conclusion? Let me know in the comment section below. Like this video for the algo, subscribe to keep the series alive, and see you in the next video.